Louisiana passed a bill requiring that the Ten Commandments be posted in all public school classrooms.
If you want to respect the rule of law, you got to start from the original lawgiver.
The first state to require the Ten Commandments to be displayed in every public school classroom in the state.
Soon after that, so did Texas.
This session, I signed a new law that requires the Ten Commandments to be displayed in school classrooms.
Both laws were quickly attacked by activists who trotted out a line we've heard a million times before. There's supposed to be a wall between church and state.
You understand that there's a separation between church and state.
When I signed the bill, I never thought it would create so much controversy.
Our public schools are going to be turned into Sunday schools.
And lower courts believed them, ruling the displays plainly unconstitutional.
A federal judge in Louisiana has ruled a controversial law that ordered the Ten Commandments be posted in public school classrooms is unconstitutional.
The problem is, there never was a wall between church and state. This is an essential truth about our country that's been obscured by 50 years of bad law. Join me in supplications that he, the being who led our forefathers, will enlighten the minds of your servants. That's Thomas Jefferson in his second inaugural address, asking God for guidance. Yes, the same man we've been told wanted a wall of separation between church and state constantly invoked religion in his public life. He regularly attended church while president and allowed worship services to be held in government-owned buildings. And this is what Jefferson proposed as our national seal. It depicts God parting the Red Sea for Moses and has as its national motto, "Rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God." Jefferson did famously write about a wall between church and state, but Jefferson, just like the rest of his fellow Americans at the time, clearly didn't believe that government should ban religion entirely from public spaces. That would be itself an act of government discrimination. And for the first century and a half of our nation's history, government presentations of the Ten Commandments were considered clearly constitutional. Then, in 1980, came the seismic Supreme Court case of Lemon versus Kurtzman, which erected a new legal test that aggressively excluded religion from public spaces. The Lemon test struck down a nativity scene at a Missouri courthouse, the Pledge of Allegiance because it included under God, Bible classes and graduation prayers at public schools, and a Ten Commandments display in Kentucky public schools.
They're going to have to take down the Ten Commandments in Kentucky schools.
And that decision is being cited today as proof that Ten Commandment displays in schools are unconstitutional.
There's a prior case in which the facts are really similar involving the Ten Commandments, and this one runs afoul because it is so similar.
This will overturn precedent, and we should be very afraid of that.
But these people haven't been paying attention. The Supreme Court has been steadily chipping away at the Lemon test for years. In 2005, in Van Orden versus Perry, a Texas lawyer was suing to remove a Ten Commandments display from the state capitol.
It was engraved with the Ten Commandments, and it troubled him.
That is far beyond "In God We Trust."
Justice Antonin Scalia denounced the Lemon test as a ghoul in a late-night horror movie that stalks our Establishment Clause. And the court let the monument stand.
I don't think most people know what the text of the Ten Commandments are, but they do know that it stands for the fact that our laws are derived from God. That's what it stands for. And that's, it seems to me, an appropriate symbol to be on state grounds.
In 2019, in American Legion versus American Humanist Association, activists had sued to take down a cross on public property in Maryland. Some even suggested sawing off its arms. Justice Neil Gorsuch explicitly called out the Lemon test as bad law.
I think a majority of this court has advocated for Lemon's dismissal.
And he specifically mentioned that Ten Commandment displays have long been considered constitutional.
We have a Ten Commandments display just above you. Is it time for this court to thank Lemon for its services and send it on its way?
The court let the cross stand. Then in 2022, in Kennedy versus Bremerton School District, a football coach at a Washington State public school would regularly pray after games.
And I made a commitment with God that, hey, I'm going to give you the glory after every game.
And when he wouldn't stop, the school district fired him. And the lower court used the Lemon test to uphold his firing. The Supreme Court pushed back, officially abandoning the Lemon test.
That was a mistaken test, and it is a mistaken way to think about what the Establishment Clause requires.
And ruled in favor of the coach.
I found out that I'm not insane. I just can't stop smiling.
Just as this Supreme Court wiped away decades of bad abortion law by overturning Roe versus Wade, it's been wiping away decades of bad religious liberty law, finally dismantling the Lemon test. This is the new world that Texas and Louisiana are testing. So far, some lower courts haven't gotten the message. The entire Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals is now reviewing both laws, and it's likely these cases will be heard by the Supreme Court soon. The Louisiana and Texas laws mandate passive displays that simply present the moral framework that inspired our founding documents. These are displays that Thomas Jefferson and the rest of the founding generation would likely approve of. Will the court confirm that we've indeed returned to the founders' original vision of religious liberty?